Josh Naylor is coming back to the Mariners. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the weekly episode of the Seattle Baseline podcast. My name is Julian Smith, and I'm with Alex Hong. Alex, we just got the information. Josh Naylor is coming back to the Mariners. Crazy first baseman. Great job on the Mariners front office. They did not wait for any other teams to show any sort of interest. They just went and got him. So, um, yeah, I'm out of words. Alex, how do you feel right now?
Yeah, Julian, we talked about how Naylor was a very big priority for this team for many different reasons, right? The success he had at the end of last season, going into this next season, where, if it's not Naylor, we don't know who's going to play for space. But the Mariners, they really, when they said that Naylor was their number one priority, they were not lying. And a lot of the times with the Mariners, we have no idea, they always say, oh, the payroll might increase. They're always very subjective, but here it looks like they had a goal and they got it done. So I'm very, very happy that he's back.
Yeah, so you just mentioned the payroll. My my head could not stop spinning after last year. I read that the Mariners offloaded $8 million of their salary going into the offseason for like I think it was arbitration, and they doubled their budget. That was the first thing that came out last season. And so they had $16 million. I could not have been more just like what I wish it was a joke that when they said that, but it wasn't. And this year, the first thing I hear is Josh Naylor was signed to a 5-year deal by the Mariners. What a change. What a big change. It's like you go from bottom all the way to the top. Like that's my like level right here. So like when you compare it to they've essentially doubled their budget comment to they've just signed the premium first baseman for 5 years. Yeah, I am happy. I am so happy right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, in the playoffs and late into last year when we got him, right? He was really, really good. And Mariners have had historically a hard time trying to find hitters who can hit in T-Mobile, right? We all know about the players we brought back in previous years, Teoscar Hernandez, Jesse Winker, um, oh, that Colton Wong, I remember him, right? We keep bringing in these guys who were able to hit before they went to the Mariners, and then all of a sudden they forgot how to hit, or they just can't hit in T-Mobile. But Naylor was one of the guys who was really good at hitting into T-Mobile. He was better in T-Mobile Park than he was with the Diamondbacks. So that was crazy. And he had a really, really good postseason. He's a really good first baseman for the value we got him for, which the contract details are not fully out at the time of this recording, but is most likely within the 90 to $100 million range for 5 years. So that's around 18 to $20 million a year. And we talked about how if we could get Naylor for $20 million or less, we would do it in a heartbeat. And I guess the Mariners did it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. And you didn't just sign someone that's a good player, like all this and that. You signed someone that's wearing a Seattle Supersonics jersey into a game, into a Mariners game. I don't know how many years the Supersonics haven't played. And I think I saw something that the Supersonics are coming back soon with the expansion of the NBA. Hopefully that happens soon. I'd love to watch some Seattle basketball. But this guy's wearing these Seattle jerseys. This guy loves Seattle. And I think that's something that I take into account really big is because like this guy really wants to play in the Mariners. He wants to be a Mariner. And so that's something that I think you get from Josh Naylor is not just a great player, but this ball of energy, this smarts on the base paths and all this stuff. And then you get enthusiasm for the state. He loves the fans. He loves the team. He loves the whole state. I think this is a great opportunity for the Mariners to keep on getting better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone has any negative things to say, right? Usually the Mariners offseason is very negative. Oh, they didn't do anything. Oh, they only signed, Donovan Solano. That was our key acquisition, right? Just, oh my God, it's just disaster, right? But this is a move that I think not even just Mariners fans, but a lot of people who follow the MLB think, oh, this was a move the Mariners should have made. This was a really good move for the Mariners to make. And they did that. So this offseason, who knows how the rest of the offseason will go? Hopefully, it'll go just as well as moves like this, but been off to a really, really good start. And um, we have more certainty in the infield now because now we have Naylor at first base, we have Crawford on shortstop. So, that solves two of the holes in the infield. So it brings a lot of security to this team. I'm just really, really, really happy that Naylor's
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, because we haven't had a good first baseman in what, like however many years. I can't even count.
We
I
had
think,
one or two good years of Ty France.
yeah,
Then we were swapping. I remember in the late 2010s, we were swapping between one year we had like Adam Lynn, Danny Valencia. Then we
yeah.
had, yeah, we were just swapping between guys. Like it was a new guy every year. It's like, oh, next new year, we're gonna see who's the Mariners' first baseman. It'll be someone new, right? Oh, Daniel
Yeah.
Vogelbach, right? So
Yeah, I
we kept bringing guys back and forth. But oh, Justin Turner last year. Oh, do you remember that?
and then Donovan Solano, Donnie Barrels
Yeah.
for yeah. But Ty France in 2022 I thought was really good, but he didn't have the defense that Josh Naylor has. Josh Naylor, not only is he a good batter that can burn pitches for the other pitcher, he's also a really good defender. I like his reach with the glove, and
Hmm.
I think this is like you were talking about stability, but I think bringing in Josh Naylor really does make your team more less susceptible to errors on the infield. I think this move was exactly the move that the Mariners needed.
Look, and he can steal as well. I mean, I don't know how he
Yeah,
can steal. Like, he's just really good at it, I guess, but it doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, he's just a fun player. I think all Mariners fans, they liked him when he came over. He's not like a problem guy. He's not like, sometimes they're really good players who have personality issues, but Naylor is a chill guy that everyone likes, and the clubhouse definitely likes him. All the other players like him. Like Cal Raleigh's story was like, or maybe he posted on Twitter, but he was really excited that Naylor was coming back. And I think all the Mariners are. So yeah, this is a really good
yeah.
start to the off season, basically. But
And I
Julian,
think
yeah, I should go on.
one sec, before we move on, I do want to mention I want Julio Rodriguez to watch Josh Naylor steal. I think Julio's had some issues with the on the base pass, even though he's really fast. And so I think if Julio Rodriguez can watch Josh Naylor and gain his skill set of just like smart base stealing, this is how you steal. Because Josh Naylor's the second slowest guy in the MLB and he's stealing bases. If Julio Rodriguez can learn that, he will be the best base stealer in baseball. And I think that's one of the underrated things about Josh Naylor is that you have a lot of fast guys that could be a little bit weaker on the base pass because they might get picked off, they might be, overly aggressive and lots of stuff might happen. But when you have Josh Naylor on your team in your clubhouse, teaching and talking to these guys about how he does what he does at this elite of a level, I think that changes the team. I think that's going to transform the Mariners next year into a more and more base stealing strength team. I think that's one of my underrated things about bringing back Josh Naylor is the impact he has on other players to steal bases as well.
Good point. Good point. Yeah. Okay, Julian, I think we should move on. So we have a little bit of news also on the budget for the Mariners in 2026. Do you want to go into a little bit more detail on that?
Yeah, so it seems like not much details per se, but I I've read that they have a $34 million budget. And Josh Naylor's contract being 18 to 20 million dollars a year, I expect it to be something along the lines of 15-ish million dollars left. So you add Josh Naylor to your team and then you start with what you had last year. So that's a massive up for me.
Yeah, we definitely have enough space to make a significant move or like a mildly significant move. Obviously, last year we had like $8 million. That went to like Donovan Solano. It was, that was pretty disastrous right there, but we can actually make a decent move. So, Julian, out of all the needs the Mariners could have, what position do you think we need to upgrade the most, and who could that be? Via trade or by any place you like.
Yeah, so I think in terms of places we could upgrade, I'm going to list off the places I think we could upgrade. That's second base, third base, right field, and relief pitching. Maybe starting pitching. Out of those, I think that third base and second base are the need. I think that we were talking about Brendan Donovan last episode, and I think that's where the Mariners could bridge the gap between the years where they have Cole Young and Cole Emerson, and then right now.
Hmm.
That's what they need to bridge the gap to. And Brendan Donovan's great. I think we also there's trade rumors about him. I think we need to look at Ketel Marte because this guy, Brendan Donovan, don't get me wrong, he's a great player, but Ketel Marte is a superstar. Think of like Julio Rodriguez at second base. And he's also flexible. He can go to third base as well, but his primary position is second base. You're getting Julio Rodriguez basically for 5 years. That's the Ketel Marte trade right now. And so, Alex, can you describe like what Ketel Marte does? I think like everybody knows Ketel Marte because he's he's an all-star. He's like the elite second baseman. But like what do you think is the value that Ketel Marte brings?
Ketel Marte is a very good, like, all-around player, I think. He's good at like almost everything, right? Even when he was with the Mariners, right? I remember I was watching the Mariners back in 2016, and Ketel Marte was playing short. And then he was decent. He was okay. He wasn't very good, I will say. And then the Mariners ended up trading him to the Diamondbacks. That was the Gene Segura Mitch Haniger trade back in 2017. And then all of a sudden in Arizona, he blossomed, right? He finally figured it out, right? He was a good prospect and he ended up figuring it out, right? He what the biggest surprise for me was his power. Okay, when he was in Seattle, okay, he was playing a lot, right? He played almost every day. Maybe he missed a game like every like few days or so, but I remember he was playing almost every day, and he's like a singles guy. Okay, he gets some singles. I don't even think he drew that many walks, right? He was a very flawed player, but now he's a really good contact hitter and he can slug as well for power, which is crazy to me. So as a hitter, he's basically everything you want. In this past season, he had an 893 OPS, right? A 283 average, 376 on base, 517 slugging. Okay. He had 28 home runs, 28 doubles, and then I mean, yeah, he was just really, really good. I mean, I don't think he doesn't really steal that many bases, but maybe on the Mariners he could do a little more than that because the Mariners like to steal a lot. But I mean, for him as a player, he's also a really good defender as well. There's a lot of things I'm saying about him, and there's a lot of positives I'm saying about him because it's not like, oh, he can only do this or he can only do that. He can do almost everything.
Yeah, when you look at Ketel Marte, I mean I just mentioned it, but he's a Julio Rodriguez. He's one of those players that's going to have a above 900 OPS and he's going to bat around 300. His on base is pretty good. And I think you add this player, he's going to be a needle mover. This is going to be for 5 years. You're going to get an all-star player. This is so I think Randy Arozarena was a great trade from the Rays in was it 2024? Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it
last year.
was. Yeah, 2024. Randy Rosarena was a big trade. Ketel Marte's value is above Randy Rosarena. Randy Rosarena goes to the All Star game every 2 to 3 years. Ketel Marte goes every year. This is your superstar. And so moving Ketel Marte to Seattle is this is the chip that will get you immediately. This is the type of guy that gets you to the playoffs and puts you in the conversation for another World Series run. That's the value that Ketel Marte is. So I I want to talk about some trades for Ketel Marte because if the Mariners get Ketel Marte, I will be more than happy to give up the prospects that we're going to share right now. So the trade for Ketel Marte, I'm thinking Lazaro Montes, Michael Morales, Troy Taylor, and Harry Ford. Harry Ford is interchangeable with Cole Young. I think giving Cole Young back for Ketel Marte might be a better decision for the Diamondbacks because then they have a little more infield stability from Cole Young. But Harry Ford is also they want catchers. They want some good catching prospects. So Harry Ford is another option for the Diamondbacks. Alex, what do you think about that trade? Like what's going through your mind?
Well, the big chip in the trade would be Las Montes, right? He's
Yeah.
nowadays I think he's a top 30 prospect around the 20s area, which is really good value, right? Cole Young, he's evolved out of the prospect range, but he's around he was like a mid hundreds or like 50s prospect in the top 100s when he got called up. And I know he's been in the majors for a bit, so maybe his stock has gone down, or I don't know, maybe his stock has changed, but he's still a guy like Ketel Marte was back all the way in 2016. He could blossom, right? So you never know. These truly are kind of lottery tickets out there. Harry Ford as well. He's still prospect status, I believe, at this point, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he's around the 40s, right? I think somewhere there.
Yep.
Yeah,
42.
so in this consideration, we would be trading a top 30 prospect and then like a top 40 prospect and then some of our lower level prospects as well, right? In this trade. So I actually think this is a pretty good trade for us, right? We're trading for a player who is a little older, but I don't think he's showing that many signs of slowing down, and especially on defense. So 32 years old, but his defense is still pretty good. Okay. I'd be a little more concerned if his defense was like Juan Soto's, who clearly is entering DH realm pretty soon out there, but he can still play, and that's pretty good. Even if he deteriorates as a player a little bit naturally through age, I feel like he's still going to be a good guy for us, and especially in the next few years, because well, we desperately need, I think, a solid lead off hitter because we kept switching between like Julio and then like Randy at one point, right? We were like trying to flip through. We were using JB Crawford earlier in the year, this past season, but Marte would be a really good leadoff hitter. You would just put him there, forget about it, and he'll do his job. So, right, and to get on base for Cal Raleigh. So, yeah, I really, really like Ketel Marte, and I would definitely be willing to give up the prospects you listed to get him. Now, my question is, Julian, that was your trade package, but what if the Diamondbacks say, no, I want more, or maybe they want like a more established big league player like Bryce Miller? How would that affect your decision on how much you want Ketel Marte?
Um, if they want more than the trade package that I mentioned here, I'd say there's a pretty good chance that we have to look elsewhere. The the idea of a major league ready player,
Hmm.
I think giving up Bryce Miller might be a pretty decent option. But then you'd have to scale back on the prospects. I'd
Yeah,
say
definitely.
if you're giving up Bryce Miller, you're taking out Michael Morales and maybe even Laz Montes because Bryce Miller is a major league proven, not just
Yeah.
major league ready, but major league proven talent. And so
Hmm.
that brings in a lot of value. I'd say you'd take out Laz Montes and Michael Morales, the pitcher, and then the top prospect. So
Okay.
yeah,
That's fair, I think.
yeah, I think that's the type of move that I would make if they say that, but I think overall that this trade package is pretty suitable. It's a little bit of an overpay, but I think that if we're getting Ketel Marte, I'm fine with overpaying for Ketel Marte a slight bit, as long as it's not destroying your farm system. And that also stems from Ketel Marte having him in the lineup. That gives you the opportunity to put Ben Williamson at third, while Cole Emerson tries to what's it called, develop a little bit more in the minors. I
Yeah.
think that that's one of the values of that, because now you have Ketel Marte, who's a fantastic leadoff hitter. He's got all the abilities of hitting that you need. He's a great defender, and once you put Ben Williamson at third, now you've got defense, and so you don't need the offensive production at third base that you would have needed if you brought back someone like Jorge Polanco, for example. And that's the change from Polanco to Marte for that reason is huge. I think that when Emerson comes up midway through the season, that's going to be a much favorable team, or he's going to be a much better player after developing in the minors. So that's my big thing on Ketel Marte, is that he gives so much more flexibility for the minor leagues, and for having him for 5 years. I mean, we talked about, or I talked about Naylor and his ability to teach the players how to steal bases the way that he does. Ketel Marte can do the same. He's another guy with Julio Rodriguez and Cal Raleigh and Josh Naylor. He can hit. He can hit for power. And so having him in the lineup not only gives your lineup a lot of boosts, but a lot of players are going to want to play with him. I think that's another value that Marte brings.
Yeah, and it'd be cool to have him back because he used to be in Seattle as well. Also, his contract is not that bad. He signed a 6-year deal, and it ended up being the average annual value was a little less than 20 million a year. I actually looked, his payroll next season, 2026, is actually 16 million. So it's not even that bad at all. I mean, we definitely wouldn't re-sign Polanco, obviously, if we were to trade for Ketel Marte. So payroll wise, we have enough money. And even if we didn't, we can cut some people like maybe Trent Thornton. We could have some cap casualties, but it's not like we're signing a guy. It's not like we're trying to trade for a guy who's like $30 million a year. Then we would run into a big financial crisis. But this is very reasonable. I think it is possible. It's definitely not the only thing the Mariners could do, but this is definitely something I think they should consider. And yeah, it's Ketel Marte. He has familiarity with the Mariners, even if his great playing time didn't come from here. But yeah, and we seem to like to trade with the Diamondbacks, so I don't know why, but maybe the
Yeah.
Diamondbacks could give us another player. It'd be kind of funny though, with Suarez, Naylor, and Marte within because the trades for the trade deadline happened like late July, so it'd actually be like within like a 5 to 6 month span, three of their best players would be going to the Mariners. I find that kind of funny.
All from the infield.
Yeah.
Like every single one from the
Wait, that's
infield too.
actually so funny.
Yeah. Oh, I wish Suarez was back. Or I wish we had Ketel Marte last season, because then you'd have three
Oh,
Diamondbacks right
oh,
there.
that's so funny. Yeah.
It would be
We
like
just
the
took their
Seattle
infield.
Diamondbacks at that point.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think if the Mariners are not considering Ketel Marte at this point, they need to start considering Ketel Marte, because this guy is the guy. All-star, everything. I want Ketel Marte to be a Seattle Mariner for 2026. Do you have anything to add, Alex?
I mean, look, Josh Naylor, he's on the Mariners now. We have a lot of other options we could do. It's not like there's only like one feasible option the Mariners can do. We have a good amount of flexibility. Let's go make some good moves. It doesn't need to happen anytime soon, but maybe the sooner the better because the Mariners seem to. This is the first time I've heard a move like this decently significant this early into the offseason, I feel like. At least it's been a while. So, yeah. Can't wait to see what the Mariners do next, though.
Yep. I love the move so far. Mariners are doing great. Let's keep on going. Let's win a World Series next year. Let's make a team. And Thank you everyone for tuning in. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and our beautiful faces on YouTube. Check out our Instagram. And as always, go Mariners.
Go Mariners.
Comment us your moves. Let's go.